Episode of Off the Rack. I'm Sal.
And I'm Tiffany.
This is a comic book show where we take the comic books of the past week and we recap, review them, tell you what we thought about them, and then recommend comics that are coming out this week that we think that you should check out. This is our live show. It's one of the few live shows we have here on ComicPop Returns, which is, of course, a satellite subsidiary underdog of the ComicPop brand, which includes channels like ComicPop and ComicPop Plays over on youtube.com/@ComicPop Plays or twitch.tv/ComicPop. We have a lot of things going on here on this channel and beyond. We want to thank you so much for watching. We want to thank you for liking the video, of course, before we even get started, and subscribing to the channel, clicking bell for notifications. We do appreciate that because it helps you know when the show goes live and when we drop a show. Like tomorrow, there's another episode of our monthly installment of All Stars, where Joshua Williamson, writer of Green Arrow and Superman and Dark Crisis, and I chat about the industry. We're going to be talking a lot about Spider-Man in that episode for some reason. We ended up just talking about Marvel, and then about like an hour and 20 minutes into it, realizing that, you know, Joshua works for DC.
Sure.
And then going, oh, we need to talk about some DC. And then talking about like what's coming through the pipe, what he's working on, the Chained, all that stuff. But if you want to hear me explain some behind the scenes stuff to a guy who knows all the behind the scenes stuff about the industry, you want to check out that episode. We talk a little bit about One More Day, the Clone Saga, quitting comics, blind spots, toys, G.I. Joe action figures. It's a whole great big conversation you are not going to want to miss. That comes out tomorrow, Tuesday, unless you're catching the show on the audio format in Spotify or iTunes or Apple Podcasts or wherever, in which case you need to go over to YouTube, but also enjoy listening to it here and give us a 5-star rating. That would help us out. Yeah. How about you? How you doing? What's going on?
Good.
Anything new?
No. I'm a great conversationalist.
Yeah.
Yes,
and very big help. We also have another special episode about speaking of improv and tangentially writing. We have a special bonus episode of Elseworlds Exchange that's going to drop soon this week, where we chat with a special guest, an actual WGA member, to talk about how the strike happened and what deal they got out of it, and why it's great, and why they are all unanimously more or less voting for it.
Hooray! That's awesome.
But yeah, so anything else going on in the industry that we should talk about? I guess we could talk about AI comics, because that was a big subject on Twitter or X. I will be cold and in the ground before I colloquially call it X.
Yeah.
As will the rest of the humanity.
No, it's just Twitter.
So they can just eat a bag of monkey dicks. So what is going on in the world of AI? What was the term you used? I couldn't think of it. People call it AI art. What is it really?
I don't remember what it was.
Right, it's AI images or AI garbage. Just some kind of
generated.
No, like there was a word instead of art that we were supposed to be using instead. But
I can't remember what it was.
And one that isn't like overtly antagonistic.
No,
but it diminishes it to a place where
I haven't really
belongs.
talked about it in so long.
I know, right?
I haven't needed to pull that up.
Yeah, but somebody mentioned on Twitter, they posted a picture of like this like Batman comic strip, and they were very proud of it. And there were two.
I didn't see that one. I saw the other one.
Yeah, there were 2 bits of AI generated garbage that came out on Twitter.
It could be AI image generation.
AI image generation. Yeah, that'd be fine. But they talked about there's one that was like, this is a Batman comic, and oh boy, you can make your own comics. And then the other one was a Calvin and Hobbes, and I was not happy with the Batman one, but I was like very unhappy about the Calvin and Hobbes one, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
But like there's a conversation going on, and I don't necessarily need to talk about like the whole rigmarole, but I really want to address the whataboutism and the devil's advocation that's going on in the conversation from people who maybe they don't have negative intentions. Maybe they're not trying to actively like harm artists or the industry. They're just passionate about technology.
Yes.
And if they're passionate about technology, then the world they're going to hear positivity from is going to be based in technology. So like they're going to be skewed towards a more favorable approach to AI generated images, especially in the realm of any realm, comics, music, movies, art, etc. But like, I wanted to address that because that's actually worse, I think, than people being like, AI generated art is great and it's good for the. But I'm seeing people being like, oh, I don't know. I mean, like, I feel like what we need to do is get ahead of it. We need to start like working with it. We need to start thinking of it as a tool.
I've heard of that too, and I think that argument comes from people who don't have a strong inclination one way or the other, or are like, I think we're gonna like, I don't think there's any stopping it, so they're just trying to soften the blow.
Right.
But the fact is, for a lot of folk, myself included,
Yeah.
I mean, they're definitely not. Like I practice art as a hobby, so like no one's taking anything from me by
Right.
creating AI art, and I had no dreams of like breaking into that field anyway.
Mhm.
I for me and a lot of people, it's less about, and when it comes to AI art in particular, it's less about the what's being produced and more about the way in which it produced it.
Mm.
And that's something that can never be undone.
Now,
I mean,
wait,
it
how do you
could
mean?
be, but they won't ever do it
Mhm.
because they like, you'll hear this argument a lot that people who create AI or support AI will go like, yeah, but isn't it the same as doing a master study? I'm like, there's a really big difference between myself looking at a master's work
And
and
then
reproducing
replicating
it
it.
and like learning like from their mistakes and then taking it and applying it to my own work, and a machine which is set to copy.
Yeah.
It's not, it's learning, but not in the same way. It doesn't come with its own filter of experiences, lifetime of different information coming in, different emotions. And I feel like you hear people saying like, but it didn't really steal, because like the fact is,
Because it created something new.
AI art was generated by feeding it art from the internet,
Right.
art that people had created and had made livings off of and posted, because you know what, when social media showed up, artists had to change, they had to shift with the times, and you saw a lot of digital artists like coming up and coming, and
Yeah.
like the way in which they got their art seen or they have their business is via letting people look at it on social media and then maybe
Absolutely.
purchasing a product or supporting their Patreon,
Yeah,
right? Like
that was how the art field made its money on the internet
yeah,
for like a good decade. I mean, that's the
exactly.
webcomic industry, was give your art away for free and merchandise other ways, through ads or through merchandising.
Mhm.
We found that is not necessarily the best model. It was, the cream rose to the top, according to those who were cream based and able to succeed. But a lot of things fell by the wayside. I think just based on there being just so many
Right.
artists out there generating content.
But without their approval,
Yeah.
like their art was taken and
Yep.
fed into this AI,
Right.
and now it can produce things based off of making it look like someone else's work.
Exactly. They could say like, this looks like a Brian Boland, or this looks like a. I know that the Batman ones that I was thinking of were they ripped off of Mike Allred and Brian Bolland, and it was just kind of like, okay, those are definitively theirs, but maybe they didn't necessarily create those particular. Actually, I believe the Mike Allred one was straight up just a lifted.
Well,
image.
you can literally put in.
Draw like Mike Allred,
right,
or
that
something.
You can feed them images that you want it to look like.
Mm-hmm.
And so that really, to me, takes away like artistic identity. I mean, there are people out there who do like productions of masterworks, if somebody wants to own the masterwork.
Yes. Right, just having it in your house.
Right. And like, so you'll get like this reproduction, but I don't know like if that's art necessarily. And that's not the same. It's not going to be exactly the same, because that artist doesn't have the same body and brain as the person who created it in the first place.
Exactly.
And so like that's one of my biggest problems with AI, is where it all came from, AI imagery. If artists were instead using it to like iterate, early sketches to get some thoughts, that would be one thing.
Right.
But that's not where it's being used for. And I think we are also going to be seeing a lot of folk who are just like, I don't have the desire to learn the craft, because I truly believe anyone can learn to draw. Now there will always be different people,
and there'll be varying degrees of levels
of in which to do that, but like everyone can do it if they put the work into, because like art, there is talent involved for sure, but most of it is practice. It's just practice. You have to practice, you have to learn, you have to do all of that. And I think this tool came along and has made it so that everyone's like, well, now I don't have to do that.
Yes.
And
I've removed a barrier of entry for myself.
And like eventually AI will only be learning off of itself, and then I don't know. I don't know. I just it leaves a bad taste in my mouth, and I am all about for the most part, like, let's move forward, let's do things, let's automate things,
progress.
like progress for sure. Like if there's a medical procedure,
Right,
they're
that
like,
removes a human being, and it's like, oh,
well, no, listen, I want the human being there, but if like the robot can be like, oh, hey, you have like a tumor or something, and like the robot can, or the AI can go like, hey, I know exactly where it is, and I'm going to take it out, and it's going to completely, keep you safe, and I'm
yes,
going to get it in a way that a human being couldn't do. Yeah, 100%.
100%. Well, that and I think it's just varying degrees of like of use and import. I mean, like the fact is, if it's a life-saving technique, I don't give a crap who does it.
Oh yeah, I don't care.
But when it comes to, I mean, art is not. I mean, I love art. I think art is therapeutic, it's important, and it is valuable. But I also don't think, I'm not going to conflate the issue and say, it's the same thing as having a robot perform a life-saving procedure.
Right.
But I also not going to diminish art and say that, like, since you feel one way about one thing, you should feel about it the other. AI generated images passing as art, I think, is if you are not using it as a stepping stone to something else, like, I can understand. Like I saw, and my issue overall is just that the conversation is being polluted by whataboutisms and about like devil's advocate.
Yeah.
And when I say polluted, I mean, like, I don't necessarily even believe that all of them are in bad faith, but I do believe that, like, the conversation should not be, well, wait a minute, no, because if AI is inevitable, if it's coming whether we want it to or not, if it is something that we're going to need to deal with down the road, the way to do it is not to use baby steps or to try to negotiate with it. I think it needs to be with, like, brick and stone and steel. Like, it needs to be in, like, the most pushback you can possibly give it, because inevitability means that it will be here. So we shouldn't be making deals with it if it's still going to be here. If we put up barriers that prevent it from eating into the artistic consciousness of America, of the world,
right,
then at least we're doing some kind of work to preserve it.
Yeah.
I think that it's just important to say it's okay to be black and white about certain things. Like this. Like, it's okay to just go, it's trash. Like the Calvin Hobbes one is the one that I was, like, the most upset about. And obviously I can't be impartial about Calvin Hobbes. Calvin Hobbes is, like, for me, it's formative, it's important, it's everything. But when someone made, like, a Calvin Hobbes comic strip, Bill Watterson got he personally, the creator of Calvin Hobbes, the writer and artist, he, like, destroyed. Somebody made, I remember, for like an art class for like in their college decade ago, more. Somebody made like a Calvin Hobbes short.
Yeah.
And I believe it was an animated short of a strip. So it was a recreation of the strip using Watterson's art, but replicating it to be an animation. And that person, I don't know if they use computers or if they use it hand drawn. For me, when it comes to animation, computers versus hand drawn, you're still a human being is making it. I'm not going to argue with that. But Watterson was like, no, just with the kibosh on that. And that was made by a person. So I can imagine Bill Watterson having a strong opinion about what a computer AI generating a comic strip of, that's even more offensive and derivative than even someone who, in deference to Bill, would make something about. Like, that is so antithetical to what Watterson believes in and what he wants Calvin Hobbes to be, that if you made that using AI, or doing it at all, but making it using AI, you are doing it on purpose. You're doing it to hurt him.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of thing where I'm like, it's okay to just say, like, F this forever. This is a terrible thing.
Yeah.
I don't care about, like, what roads it paves or what, like, barriers it knocks down or what careers it creates.
Right.
If it is on the back of Bill Watterson, or if it's on the back of hardworking, non-recognized artists who are just trying to do their craft and do it well, then F it forever. I don't care where it leads if it's this way.
Right. I mean, here's the thing. It's like I love the idea of like taking out the barrier to entry.
Right.
But when it comes to that, YouTube really took care of that.
Yeah.
Because any professional artist out there or any artist out there at all can put up any video that's like, hey, this is how I do it. There are so many lessons out there.
Yeah.
If you just want to learn, but I'm just saying, like, so it's not even like you have to go to art school to learn how to draw.
Right.
Like you could just go there and like it's here. It's right here where you are right now.
I do believe there is a certain level of aptitude that is inherent. I don't think that you can just be like, I want to draw like Neil Adams.
You won't be able to, but like, here's the thing: you shouldn't
want to.
You should want to do that initially, and then you'll find your own voice.
Exactly.
You know, like, and then you find what you really love. Like, you might be inspired by someone else, but like, it's going to be you at the end of the day. It's you. That's what art is supposed to be. It's an extension of the artist. It's an extension of their experiences. It's an extension of a reflection of the world around them. Like, that's what it is. Even if it is just a Batman drawing, it's still the Batman that it's the one that you're thinking of. It's the thing that's happening to them via your brain. Like, it's you on the page or on the digital screen, like whatever. It's you.
Yeah.
And like, AI for me is supposed to make our lives easier.
Exactly.
That's what I was like. That's what AI is gonna do. Like, if
automation and AI was always supposed to do that, but
right, like if I'm in like you know, Premiere, like if I'm like editing something and I can have AI, you know, take do captioning for me. Yeah,
great. It hears what I'm saying. It creates captions for me.
So much time to be able to continue to create other videos
or just focus more intently on the artistry of it.
Yeah,
because captions it's the work. It's swabbing your ears. It's trimming your nose hairs. Like it's work. It's not fun. It's, you know, it's part of the process. But like being creative is editing. It's crafting a story out of you know, out of the video. But there's AI that edits video for you, and that in and of itself is also danger. But like, you know, that goes further into other places.
Yeah,
you know, but we're seeing, you know, capitulation in the form of, I watched this teacher explaining how like students are using ChatGPT to create essays, and there's nothing you can do to stop them. And the reality is, that's right. There was nothing you could stop them. There's nothing you could do to stop them from like reading Cliff's Notes 40 years ago. There's nothing you could stop them from watching, you know, if you're doing
like hiring someone
to write your essays, or doing or just watching like a YouTuber explain the video or the book, I should say. You know, but there's nothing that's, if a child or if a motivated person wants a shortcut enough, they will do anything it takes. They'll do more work than it takes doing the assignment to not have to do the assignment. And they're trying to like figure out ways around it. And I'm like, I recognize and respect that. But on the other hand, it's like, but shouldn't you also be trying to stop it? Like, in some way,
like find another, like, to either stop it or to like challenge them in another way.
Exactly. Like, we have all these lions running around, and like, I mean, look, the reality is they're gonna eat people, and like, I don't know, like, there's just so many lions, and they reproduce so quickly.
Right.
Why should we even bother? Like, maybe we should just integrate them. Maybe we should give them a seat on the council.
Right.
I mean, since there's so many of them and they impact such a big part of our lives, maybe we should let them dictate some aspect of our society. Like, that's what I'm hearing when I hear that kind of crap.
Right.
But anyway,
but like, just really quickly too, like another example of like, because like you have the written part of AI too. There's all kinds of AI. There's math AI. There's written AI. There's art AI. It's AI. Music AI. Which is like, don't know.
Yeah.
But the written stuff, it's like, I don't agree with them being like, I'm writing a book with AI. Like, no,
that's garbage. You're not. You're not being creative.
If you're an office worker and you're like, I have like 20 things I have to do today, one of which is writing an email that I really don't want to write to someone.
Yeah.
I think that's fair to help get a helping like hand.
If that creates a template for you, especially, but only if I feel like there is a language to writing, especially when it comes to like technical writing or even just like there's advanced when it comes to socially dealing with people.
Yeah.
But like at the same time, I mean, for me, it's more like it's the automation. It's the like, I need to fit, you know, I want Excel to have like this thing that fills these rows and columns with all the data I need. Math, you know, as much as math will change the world and it's music and crap, math is one of those things where let computers do all the math. You know what I mean? I'm fine with that.
There are people who love math.
I know, and let them.
There's people, they love it, and like, that's awesome for you.
Let them love math.
I don't.
And that I think there's a natural aptitude there as well. But like, you know, anyway, we're getting off topic.
Yeah.
But,
anyway, so.
But you know, AI is coming whether we like it or not, and we're gonna be.
And apparently, it's not gonna make it so that we don't have to work anymore. So
no, that's the worst. Is that and that was
so that we can go and pursue our hobbies, our artistic desires, our needs to create. No, AI came for our creation.
Yes.
Instead of freeing our minds up for that. So
That's right.
that's the thing I'm the most upset about. I'm
No,
like,
it's
that's
true.
not the future. The future is supposed to be
The
us,
other way.
like-
We're supposed to be we're the ones who are creative. Humans are satisfied by creation. We are not robots. Robots do robotic things. They do the work
Yeah, but
so
it's
that we can be
thinking.
freed. Yeah, that's a problem. Well, it should be able to think around a problem so that it can find the most convenient or efficient solution to that problem. Not the problem that is humans, and not the problem that is how can I get like the
It's a
most
slippery slope.
yeah, but how can I find the most like efficiently made movie that will appeal to the most amount of people? Because that is the real problem.
Yeah.
It's that you're not hearing
It's the people who want to make money, the people who are going to exploit it. It's the exploitation of it.
Yes, that like the only people who like AI in comics, in music, etc., but in comics specifically, are people who have no compulsion to reach out or collaborate with an artist.
Yeah.
People who are too lazy to develop their craft, or people who are too greedy to pay people what they're worth and allow them to create something that flourishes and is original.
Mhm.
Like that's the problem, is that
Yeah.
like the only people who are pushing for this thing are the worst.
Mhm.
The people who have no business being in it. And it's that, like, I understand that sounds very gatekeepy, because it is. The fact is, I am going to be gatekeepy about things that are creative and original and fun, and stop people who are not creative or who don't value creation. Like, you don't belong here. If you're like, man, I hate music and I don't understand it, but if I could just whip it up on my computer using AI, then like, I guess I'd be interested because it would make me money. You don't love music. You don't like creation. You just
love
want
money.
You just love money, or you resent creation and creative people, and you want to hurt them.
That is another thing.
And that's where I think we are. But anyway, jumping into the super chats.
Yeah,
real
let's
quick
get into the super chats.
So I noticed that because I wanted to address the super chats, and I know those of you who are listening, I do apologize for not getting into comics, but these super chats might be related to this topic, and I don't want to have to retread.
Yeah, let's do it.
But Lautaro Medina says, "How are you? Are you excited for Gods, or did the end of Ultimate Invasion change anything about your expectations?" I'm well. How are you?
I'm good too.
Good. Hope you are too. No, I couldn't care less about Gods. I'm looking at Gods. I see these characters. I'm like, I don't care. I don't care at all. I just don't care. But I mean, like, listen, I'm glad. And
I'm excited for
I hope it's good. I hope it's great.
No, I definitely am. And I read the first issue of Ultimate Invasion, and then I forgot about the second one, and I forgot about the third one. And then we got the fourth one, and I just was like, well,
yeah,
I only read one. I'm not going to just read four. So
no,
yeah.
Exactly. Flywheel Shyster, best YouTube channel. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. One of the best fans. We appreciate it, man. The Fodderbox Kid, I read Gotham City Year One on your recommendations, and my God, what a great story. Now I'm diving back into Berserk. Well,
nice.
Enjoy. I saw a few people very excited that you're reading Berserk.
Yeah.
But I'm glad to hear that you enjoyed Gotham City.
Absolutely.
Yeah, a few people that I know personally were like, I read Gotham City because you said it was great, and oh my God. I'm like, yay. The Telphonics, someone with a disability, I like that it gives me an option to create, which is rad. That being said, I would never do it for monetary gains. I also agree its creation through stealing is bad.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it though. Like, and here's what I don't want.
It allows you to express yourself. That's wonderful.
Yes. What I don't want to see happen is the people who are doing it for less altruistic reasons using that as an excuse. Like, that's even worse.
Yeah,
it's so
is bad
shitty.
people being like, look at the Telphonics. He's able to, he's freed open to be able to create. And it's like,
but you should be able to tell that story without fear of someone stealing that from you to use as a weapon.
Agreed.
Because it's like, no, that's awesome. That's what I'm saying. Like, I love the idea of breaking a boundary like that, where it's just like, you know what, maybe if someone has had like lost a limb, or I don't know, like whatever will prevent you from creating. Like, if there is a tool that lets you create and lets you get that creativity out there, awesome, right? Like that's great, but please, bad people, don't just take that and try to use that as your platform.
Go find something else to
if
ruin.
You're doing it like truly altruistically, that's fine.
Exactly.
Like, yeah, use that platform.
Irons Comics is a huge Hickman fan. Ultimate Invasion didn't deliver a lot. Still excited for a new Ultimate Universe, but sorry you didn't like the book, Sal. Well, thank you very much. We'll talk more about that later. Stupid Sandwich. I recently saw a picture on DeviantArt of an AI rendering of the Avengers #1 cover to commemorate the 60th anniversary, and I found it abhorrent. Good for you. Yes, and be vocal about it. Make people. It's okay, I think, to make people feel uncomfortable or second guess doing/posting it. Ray Farr, ComicPop, woo! That's all I got this week. Well, thank you, Ray. I'll take it.
Thank you very much, Ray.
Thanks for your support. CJ Hall, CPop, woo! I just watched Blue Beetle. So fun. You guys rock. Well, I'm glad you dug it, CJ. Yeah, man. I also thought it was fun. I'm glad I saw it. Michael Morbius, I love ComicPop always, the source of my morb.
Hey.
Thank you very much.
Heck yeah.
Although I will say Victorian slang says got the morbs is not a positive thing to say. Morb meaning I'm feeling obviously uncomfortable.
Right.
But maybe it actually is pretty apropos. Girk Pectus, I made a cyberpunk city in Blender using sort of code from a YouTube vid. It wasn't stealing, and I learned a lot, but didn't feel right just copying like AI.
Yeah, no, because you were using that as a study, as a way in which to learn and then to make your own thing.
Exactly. Bryce, Harriet, Tiffany, and I got die on your wreck. I love it. It hurts.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, but yeah.
Cat Lawyer with the Pen for Treats. If AI was being used for anything other than art, then we would have had a million regulations around it. I'm a designer and I have to pay/credit for the fonts and assets I use, but AI images does not.
No,
that's horseshit.
Not at all.
Yeah, that's messed
just
up.
An AI, it's fine.
Exactly. No.
Fine.
Yeah, there does need to be legislation or regulation.
Yeah,
in force.
That's not it's not progressing fast enough because, like you said, it's not in an industry that they care about.
Yeah, and they won't. I mean, the fact is, if Marvel wanted to buy DC right now, probably wouldn't even really they wouldn't care at this point. They're like, well, how much is it? Like, how much are you talking about here? Although it would only be for the comics. I'm talking about the 83 deal. Because right. 83 was like, oh, you're not making TV shows, you're not making movies, you're making cartoons, whatever, who cares? Cat Lair Defend for Treats, if AI, he said that already. Ali El Ziadi, speaking of Calvin and Hobbes, did you know that before being cast as Superman, Corin Sweat, sorry, this is the new guy playing Superman. I'm gonna have to figure out that name. Said his favorite comic book was Calvin and Hobbes. I think we are in good hands with this Superman. I'll take that. There's no way that Superman didn't love Calvin and Hobbes, but also I love that he likes Calvin and Hobbes. I'll even forgive him saying his favorite comic book is Calvin and Hobbes because, of course, it's not a comic book. It is a comic strip, and Bill Watterson would be very upset to hear that because, of course, Bill Watterson has nothing but deep-seated resentment of comic books, which proves you can be a genius and also be wrong. Daniel Ryan, watch out, Bioshock, says, read I Kill Giants based off a really old recommendation of Tiffany's. It was amazing. Any chance of doing it on back issues? You haven't made Ben recently cry.
I would love to do that on back
I think that'd be wonderful.
And I don't know if I could make it through it.
I don't blame you because that's a very personal book for you. You love that series.
Yeah.
And
But I would love to do that one day for sure.
Dope.
I mean, my hands get sweaty.
Oh no.
Just thinking about doing that.
Let's talk about some comic books while you do that. So I read Green Arrow #4. This is fun. I was shocked by how much I enjoyed this. Josh Williamson,
Are you becoming a
Sean
Green Arrow
Isaacs.
fan?
I feel like I've always been a little bit of a Green Arrow fan.
A secret Green Arrow
No,
fan?
not secret. More like a rogue Green Arrow fan.
Oh, like Green Arrow himself. So a really, truly no.
I don't know.
You're like you like to check in on Ollie.
I do like to check in. I like Ollie a lot. But yeah, so Ollie's been trapped in wherever, and he's dealing with his past. He's going through these different iterations of himself, and right now he's facing off against Parallax, who of course it's not really Parallax, but we'll see. But yeah, he's like, you shot me.
But we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see.
He's like, you remember when you shot me and you killed me or you hurt me so badly that 0 Hour ended? Well, that's what kind of person you are, and look at this. And it's just this journey that Ollie is going on. It's funny. It's very meta. If you're a huge Green Arrow fan, then you know that there is a big Green Arrow family. I myself am not a huge Green Arrow fan, but I am acutely aware of the Green Arrow family now, having misidentified some of them on a previous video. But
ooh, you fool!
I know, but I will say that there's something really kind of sweet and wonderful about the Oliver family or the Arrow family, and how it has almost never been united. There are so many different working parts and moving elements to and people and children and so forth. They're never together. They've never been together at one point.
Okay.
And we almost got it in the first issue, but Ollie's gone. And we need to know why. And that's the big mystery. Or at least that seems to be a mystery about the Green Arrow series. Where did Ollie go? Why did he leave?
So is he not in this book?
No, he is in this book. We're watching him, but we're watching the Arrow family's looking for him, but also he is stuck.
Okay.
And I believe, and I think I could tease that we're gonna see answers to those questions. What's the deal with that? And I love that it's very much a meta book in as much as like there are like, why can't the Arrow family be whole? Why can't we just have like the Flashes can all just hold hands and run and chase the Batman who laughs and nonsense like that?
Well,
but
they've got more time in the day,
right? Clearly, because they can they can fit more activities. But just because these guys shoot arrows, they can't hang out. Like, what the hell? That's what this series is about. If you want to see like a book about the Arrow family, that's what this is.
Okay.
And Sean Isaac's art is great. It's just a really good looking, very like I think Sean Isaacs would be great on any like contemporary Marvel or DC book. It'd be great to see on this. He's doing a nice job and like giving you, very like exciting versions of your favorite characters in a way that you remember them, in a way that you like that you want to remember them.
Okay.
So yeah.
Awesome.
What did you read?
Can I talk about a book from like the show we should have done? That I should have talked about last week's show.
Of course.
During last week's show.
Yes.
Because I was like, I totally missed it. It came out, and then we were sitting here doing the show last week, and I was like, oh no, I didn't read Wolverine 37. So I did this week. I went back and I made promises on air last time that we would. And so here we are. I read Wolverine 37 from like 2 weeks ago, and no, yeah, the book came out 2 weeks ago. This is Ben Percy with art by Juan Jose Rip. Am I saying that correctly? We
always say it like that.
Yep, that's the name. Hooray! You know what I liked about this is that like we just got off of Ben Percy doing a book with Wolverine and Ghost Rider, and now it's like, and here's the Hulk, which is always apropos.
Yes,
just put the Hulk and Wolverine together because origins begin.
And yeah.
And next time around, I think it's gonna be, I don't know who else. I think it's Cap or Spidey. I can't remember who it is. Spidey comes later on. I know that.
Oh, okay.
But like it seems like Wolverine's gonna be running into a lot of folk. I think Cap's next.
Cool.
And then I think after that is Black Panther and then Spidey.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, at least based on covers. And I'm like, okay, what are we doing, Ben? But you know what? I trust him. This is Wolverine. I was like, okay. At the beginning of this book, I'm like, Wolverine has decided he's like, okay, mutants are gone, everything's messed up. Not really going to reference what just happened with Ghost Rider because it feels like that shouldn't have been connected to this, but whatever. Here we go. I got to track down these last 3 Wolverine like clones. I got to get rid of them because they're a problem because they are not as advanced as Wolverine is. So that you just have like 3 guys who have the same like abilities and power as Wolverine, but don't have the same like sort of thought processes that he does, right? So it's like he's got to track them down. And Wolverine pieces together that they're going back home, places that are important to his history. And I was like, cool, all right. So I looked ahead to see that the covers were like Cap and Black Panther and Spider-Man. And I was like, oh my gosh, I guess they're going to go and track down one clone in each book. We just take care of all that in this book.
Good.
I we'll see where it goes, but I really, really wish that some of these had a little more like
space
room to breathe.
Yeah.
A little bit because the first place they go is to like the Howlett Manor.
Oh,
the leftover.
Wow.
Yeah. So like that's where one of them goes back.
And that's in Canada. So
it's in Canada. Howlett Estate, sorry.
Yeah.
But it is a manor, I guess. You know what? I'm not wealthy enough to know what a manor is. So but Wolverine discovers that there's like lots of bones outside the building. So obviously that Wolverine went back there. He was hunting around. But he also finds human bones, and he's like, there's a myth up here in Canada that if you're to eat the flesh of a man, you become a Wendigo.
Yes, that's awesome.
And so
a Wolvergo.
Yeah.
A Wenderine.
Yes. But now do you see why I wish this had more room to breathe?
Yes.
Because this should be the issue.
Well, the issue should be just and then Hulk shows up and you get a recreation of the Hulk 181 or 182.
Yeah, and
then Hulk shows up
and punches him in the face, and then they just end it.
Oh.
And they're like, okay, cool, moving on. Then the 2 of them go off to the next place, which is Japan.
I wonder if Ben Percy's like, the few after Fall of X, we're all fired.
I don't know. Maybe.
And I need to wrap up Wolverine before I'm done.
And so they go to Japan. They go to Japan where there's like a cult that found this one Wolverine because he went to Japan, and they are utilizing his blood in order to try to live forever and what have you, and then they fight them and whatever, right? And then the last place is Madripoor,
right? Because
there's a person that Patch has taken control of certain parts of the city, and clearly someone's using him, and it's Solemn from Ten of Swords.
Yeah.
And so we just dispatch all of them. We dispatch all the Wolverine clones, and then Wolverine's like, okay, now it's time to go after Orcus. And I'm like, okay. But
I mean, I want to see that.
There
was
literally 3 books here, and they really condensed it down. And it's funny in a world where we always talk about, decompression, how compressed this did feel. And it was satisfying, but like the Wendigo shows up, and I'm like, I could have used a little bit more of him like tracking it down and like talking to people and like, reflecting on his history a little bit. And
that would have been really cool.
But it was a good issue, and it takes care of those clones. We don't mention Beast again. I'm like, okay, but
we're building to that. We'll deal with it.
Are you going to deal with that?
That'll probably be his last story. Will be the Beast.
Will Wolverine and Beast have to team up to take down Orcus? I don't know.
That sounds right.
So I just wanted to point out, read it, and had a good time. I just kind of wish that it had been a little more breathing space.
Yeah, that's fair. I read Immortal Thor number 2 and 1 from Martin Kokolo and Al Ewing. This introduces the idea of like it's about gods. It's a Tiffany book. It is.
Oh, really? Should I be reading this?
You should be reading this series. You're gonna love it. I swear to God. No pun intended.
Do you swear to gods?
Yes. So Thor's back, but like his costume change is just cosmetic. He's still All Father. Odin's still gone. They did. He's dealing with Loki. Loki's back, and Loki is indicating that there is more going on behind the scenes with that character, and that Loki will be playing a very strong role in this series, and it'll be about Loki more or less. Not like Loki's going to be the main focus, but like Loki may be the main antagonist. Although that's like the reveal of this issue. It's just kind of like, oh, Loki's souped up and ready to go. Although Loki also did restore the Bifrost in the first issue. But this introduces like the old gods, the gods of these gods. Like this is another Thor. Thor fights like another god Thor, and this god Thor is like an old god Thor. So he's big and wrathful and scary.
And he's got a big wheel.
Yes, and he that's what he keeps talking about, is like turning the wheel. And I have to assume that there's some kind of that he's real in terms of like real mythology, and there's a real version of this character. He's got a Norwegian name and all this stuff. And I'm like, all right. I didn't do any research on like what the gods are and what the references are. All I know is Kokolo is drawing the crap out of this book. The first issue, I think, had more dynamism, but I do think that it's still consistently great looking. And what's weird is like there's some selective impact. Like this like big Thor attacks our Thor and strikes lightning and does all this crazy crap and like just shatters the Statue of Liberty and like floods the city and does all this stuff, kills a lot of people. And then Thor uses his powers to like undo all of that, but the people who died still died though. So I'm like, what's that all about? It's just a weird kind of like choice to go with. But like that was just one element to the whole thing.
Okay. So who did the cover for this?
These are all Alex Ross.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
I am not a fan of this cover. I think that it should. I mean, if you're going to tell me that, if you're going to tell Alex Ross to paint Thor on atop the Statue of Liberty fighting Utgard Thor,
yeah,
that's going to be awesome looking. I mean, the fact is, I think that Marvel is overworking Alex Ross.
That's possible for sure.
Because he's doing too many covers, and he's very exclusive to Marvel right now.
Yeah, like there's an element I'm like, I appreciate what the thought on this cover is. It just didn't. I don't know.
Yeah,
I was just kind of like, oh, well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, the next one's really cool. But yeah, so it's cool. It's just a neat idea. But we're watching like old gods attack older gods, or older gods attack old gods, and that's it. Like at some point or another, I'm just gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna quit. But I like the position that Thor is in. I like the portrayal of Thor. Like watch Thor do like inhabit all these different roles. He's in charge, like he's in charge of Asgard. He's but he's not like a throne sitter. He's active and he helps with Sif, and then he goes to Midgard and he just like, enjoys it. It reminded me of that image I made fun of years ago with the Mike Deodato Jr. Thor, where there's an image from like Shield's files of him just like flying with the birds, like yay. And that was there, and it's just like it's like he goes to Midgard to relax. Like they fought Orcus in this issue, and he's just like, "Yay!" Or maybe it was issue 1. I read them both.
He's like, "Whatever."
Time. But yeah, he's like, "All right, I'll fight Orcus, and I'll hang out with my friends who will be dead quicker, like very soon, compared to how long I will live."
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm like, "Oh, okay." Like you're getting that like vibe. I'm feeling it. But you know, but my eyes glaze over when it comes to gods and you know. Because you know where's it gonna go? Like prophecy, Thor dies. That's every effing Thor story now. Like I'm past it. But I do like that we're restoring the status quo.
If you're gonna be a god, you're gonna have to die and come back.
I know, but like how many times though? Like 5?
I don't listen.
But it's well written and it's very flowery. You could tell that Ewing is like really, you know, putting his masters to create a good use. He's just. You know,
just channeling his inner Simonson.
Verily. But I do recommend it if you love Thor, you're gonna love it, and if you like gods, you're gonna like it, and if you just like Marvel, you might want to skip it. But it's still
okay.
Yeah. What else do we get?
I read X-Men Realm of X. I was like, what is this called? Realm of X.
Yeah.
This is the like.
The Torin Gronbeck.
Yeah, and Diogenes Nieves. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Book that's supposed to kind of fill the gap of all the like Betsy Braddock books.
Yeah,
right. Like
that's
where we're at.
It's a fun cover.
What this is. Yeah, it's a fun cover. And there's nothing wrong with this book. I'm just really
you're not feeling it.
I'm not feeling it, and I really don't think there's much wrong with it.
No,
I think I just sort of miss Teenie Howard's voice for a lot of these characters.
Yeah,
I really got very acclimated to that, and I'm having a hard time reacclimating myself to this. But I want more Saturnine, and this is the only place I'm going to get it. So hopefully I will keep up with this book. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with it. No. It's just an adventure of like these mutants who went through the gate, and how did they get here? Well, it was because of it's not chaos, but that's what they're calling her now for this. Well, that's what the prophecy is calling her.
I
see. But because of hang on, I'm gonna get it. It's curse. Because of her abilities, she kind of seemingly has utilized them in order to like push them into this realm.
Yeah. Okay.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah. It's just not catching you.
I just can't
it isn't arresting.
Yeah. And I think it's a me thing. I think that's very much a me thing. And
you can still recommend it, even
if you don't,
if you
like that type of thing and you're looking for more of it, give this book a try.
Yeah.
I'm not going to stop. I'll try at least to get one more under my belt, but it just hasn't caught me.
Yeah. I forgot to read Penguin. I'm very unhappy with myself. It's a great series. The first issue was fantastic.
Boo Sal.
I know. What the hell's wrong with me? What about you? I tried reading Power Girl. I got really bored.
Wow. Okay. I read Jean Grey number 2
naturally
this week. Because Jean Grey number 1 was so spectacular. That's Bernard Chang on art and Louise Simonson on writing,
on drums.
And this is the story of Jean Grey in the moments as she's dying.
Yeah.
And kind of going through her life and wondering if she could have prevented all of this by just making different changes. It's like the best version of a what if ever.
Yeah.
This is what this is. This is literally what
if Jean Grey?
What if Jean Grey? But not, because the character themselves gets to examine the what if.
Yes.
And go like, okay, no, that wouldn't have worked out anyway. All right, maybe it was this point. Maybe this point in my life. So we did the formation of the X-Men initially, and the stopping or not stopping of Magneto and all of that. That's the first issue. This issue is about the Phoenix.
Yeah.
And examines how she got the Phoenix in the first place.
Did she get the Phoenix in the first one?
No.
Okay.
No, we saw like a teaser of it.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, she did get the Phoenix in the first one. Yeah. You're right. But this is the actual moment, because that was the what if trail.
Okay.
You know what I mean? That was the like what would have happened, and it took us up to that point. You know what I mean? Like, this is the like in that moment of her actually getting the Phoenix. Like, she's like, maybe this was the point where everything went astray, and it's like, I mean, kind of. So the idea is that they're in the ship, they're breaking into the atmosphere, they're returning back. who's going to fly the ship? You know, Scott's like, I'm going to have to do it, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Because, you know, Charles can't help. And, you know, Jean doesn't let him do it. And she has a fight with Wolverine, the new guy. And then she goes and does it.
Yeah.
You know, keeps it together. But, oh, Phoenix, right? Cool.
Oh,
she's like, what if instead I went with the natural choice of just letting Wolverine do it?
Oh, okay.
Like, what if I just said, no, you're right. You have a regeneration factor.
Right.
You should do it. And I will connect with your mind and tell you how to do it.
Yeah.
So that's what they do.
Right.
So Wolverine, you know, flies the ship. She's focused on that. Scott and she have like a nice moment where he's just like, you know, what if we die? I just want you to know I love you. And like Wolverine's like, hey, excuse me, did you finish helping me?
Yeah, I got to get through this.
The ship
Come on,
because
man.
I don't know what I'm doing. And there's like, we're losing oxygen fast here.
Yeah.
You know, his healing factor can barely keep up with the radiation,
Right,
that type of thing. And Jean notices like she starts to learn a lot about him, but there's like this cutoff point where she's like, oh, this is where he was. And she's like, oh my gosh, World War I, World War II. How old is he? You're like, oh, like he had bone claws, but like where did that come from?
Yeah.
But there's like this hard stop. She's like, he has no more memories. What is that? What is this? What is this? Right?
Okay.
But as the ship is going down, the stress of it and her being in his mind causes a break. And so she sees everything, like, you know, like Weapon X, the whole program. She's like, oh my God, this poor man. Like he's been so hurt. Right. But as that's happening and as his body is dying because of the radiation it can't keep up with and the memories come flooding back, he cries out and the Phoenix comes for him.
Right.
And so Wolverine becomes the Phoenix.
Yeah. Okay.
And he goes off for vengeance. And she's like, okay,
what am I going to do?
We have to go fix this. And Professor X is like, do we?
Right.
We don't really know him. He just showed up. We got to take care of us.
Okay.
Everyone, let's go home. And Jean's like, okay, Scott, I'm going to go. And he's like, well, I'm not letting you go by yourself. What if you bang him?
Right.
And so they trace him down to Canada and they have a big fight.
Cool.
Where like Wolverine is like, you got to kill me.
Yeah.
And she's like, no. And the Scott's like, okay. Yep.
Yeah.
And the Phoenix like leaps out of him and goes into Scott.
Right.
Because it's like the next person who's like desperate.
Yes.
And like wants power and order and all that. So they're like, she's like, I'm in Scott. And Scott really can't handle it.
No.
And so, you know, they're like, we're going to have to deal with him. And so like Wolverine just snicks him right in the face. Like, I'm like, yes, this is what would happen between these two. And, you know, Jean's like, okay, yeah, no, this was a mistake. There's a reason I got the Phoenix. And it's because these two idiots definitely couldn't handle having the Phoenix. Right. Like, you know,
although between the two of them or the three of them, neither Cyclops nor Wolverine killed an entire planet.
Right. And so, I think Wolverine ends up getting it back and then he allows himself to die in some way, shape, or form.
Okay.
Like he's just like, yeah, I'm gonna rip myself apart, and like he kills himself. And so like Scott and Wolverine die, and the Phoenix is gone.
Right.
And Jean's like, no, okay, this is clearly not the point where this went awry.
Right.
You know what it probably is? Madeline Pryor.
What?
In Inferno. And I'm like, cool.
Okay.
I really like having a what if where the main character, the character that's actually about, be able to examine the what if. Is really cool.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
To be able to go like, no, what if I changed this? I could have made things better. And it's like,
no,
you always will make it worse in these types of stories. Right. But let's go down that thought process and like, let's go down that road and let's see where we go.
Totally.
But I loved like Scott and Wolverine. They've no love for each other at all in this book. It makes sense in terms of their relationship.
Exactly.
I couldn't believe Scott was just like, yeah, okay. No, I'm going to kill him.
Yeah. Thanks.
I don't know him.
No, exactly.
I don't care about him.
Right.
I know he wants to bang my girl.
Yeah, that's all I know.
I'm not okay with that.
Right.
So cool stuff.
Yeah.
Are these Jean Greys? No, they're not. Seemingly, they are not alternate timelines or universes. This is Jean in her own mind,
like experiencing in multiple lifetimes.
Yeah, like going through her own. It. Yeah, she's like, you know, how they say you've heard like. I'm sure you've heard this in some form of pop culture. Like when you like die or you have a near-death experience, like your life flashes before your eyes. It's like that, but presumably because she is, you know, an Omega level psychic, she can alter these memories to play out differently to see how it would go. That doesn't make them actually have happened.
No,
it's just a thought exercise,
exactly.
like in the most truest form of that word or that phrase, I suppose.
Yeah. Cat Lawyer for treats. On a positive note, happy fall. Unlike the X-Men, I hope Comic Pop is a great fall. Halloween back issues are always my favorite. I look forward to it. Me too, man. Thank you.
I am behind.
I know. Bear Farmer watching from 7 minutes behind, so I don't know what we're talking about right now, but I just wanted to show some love and ask what you're doing. The sequel to Armor Wars. I want it. I know there's no Armor Wars 3. I don't think. there is a Secret Wars Armor Wars. There is also a alternate Armor Wars that's a what if, basically, that's written by Michelinie, I believe. So neither of them are canon Armor Wars sequels. I don't know if I can get away with doing alternate Armor Wars, but I think we need another Armor Wars from the original team. Typical Spider, is it worth buying the Superior Spider-Man Omnibus, or should I just read it on Marvel Unlimited? Thank you, guys. You got me back into comics and indies. I'd read it on Marvel Unlimited. Save you so bunch of money.
I would say it depends on if you prefer physical or digital.
Yeah,
like if you're used to reading digital, get the digital.
Yeah, here's what I would do. I would read it digitally because it costs you very little to invest in it. And if you love it and want to read it again, then order the omnibuses and get yourself on a discount. But then you'll have it. Then you can reread it anytime you want, and it'll be very impressive on the shelf. Stupid Sandwich, I'm getting some Vietnam flashbacks to the 50 State Initiative and where Michael Van Patrick Scarlet Spider clones with his latest Wolverine stories. Well, don't worry, it's over.
They're gone. Presumably they're gone, and I don't think Beast has another way to make anymore.
No.
So
he also says, I feel like Jean Grey dies in the comics so many times that the X-Men should just assign her a new burial plot in advance for the next time she dies. Yeah, probably.
They just keep reusing it.
Yeah. Why would you make new ones? I would just do that. But
it's so morbid.
I know. Anything
we
else
just
you
left
read?
the stone up. It's fine. Just the one that we both read.
Oh, okay, great.
Which is not that.
Oh, this?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Did I read this?
Did you not read this?
No, I don't think I read this.
You didn't read this?
I read some of it. I didn't read all of it.
Oh, I thought you did.
I thought I did too. I don't remember much of it.
I read The Flash #1 by Cy Spurrier and art by Mike Deodato Jr.
That's right.
Here's me entering into the world of The Flash.
Yeah.
Following Cy Spurrier into this realm.
Yeah. No, I didn't read it.
I
bought
speedsters. No, I bought it.
No, I bought it.
Oh, then we both bought it.
Oh, crap.
Well, I didn't see it in there, so I was like, "Oh, I should buy it." So I bought it.
All right.
Well, they took double our money.
Great.
Actually, I used points.
Oh.
I had whenever we buy, this isn't a sponsorship for Comixology, but when I buy things in the Comixology store, apparently I've been earning points.
Oh.
And every 300 points or whatever,
you can just get free comics.
You get $3 off.
Oh, cool.
So I was like, oh, I have 1,200 points, so I use $3 off of this comic.
Oh, that's awesome.
So they got less of our money.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I have entered into the world of the speedsters and the Speed Force, and I'm hanging on the best I can. I'm not super versed in the Flash. It's just not a character I've really vibed with. I like him as part of the Justice League, especially when it's Wally, and that's who it is.
That's
so
who it is.
Like, hey, this was a really great entry for me.
Yes.
I'm familiar with Wally thanks to cartoons.
Right. And I read some of this. I read a sequence from it. That's probably what set me off.
Yeah. And I mean, the art in this is great. Deodato Jr. I think is doing an amazing job. Really fun panel layouts.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you, this was everything I could have wanted from this. It's like, hey, here's a bunch of stuff about the Flash.
But you didn't read the Flash before.
I think there's part of it. I think there's definitely part of that where it's like, I have a feeling that there might be some folk who are a little less familiar. So it gives you some background without feeling like they're handing it to you, like going all right, here's what you need to know about the Flash. Right.
Yeah.
But it additionally, it has Cy's voice.
Yeah.
Even if it's not a Brit, there are, if you're reading any comic, chances are you might run into an opportunity to learn some words or something new, right? But if you're reading a Cy Spurrier comic, that's definitely going to happen, right? 100%. I learned today about, because I didn't know about it. Where is it? Femtosecond.
Oh, the femtoseconds. Yeah.
The femtosecond. I didn't know what a femtosecond was.
It's come up in Flash books, so you're going to have to use yeah.
But I was like, hey, cool, right?
Yeah.
Additionally, I
attoseconds I've heard about because of Flash.
Oh, sure, that makes sense. I was like, oh, but bloviating.
Ah, yes, to bloviate. People would accuse me of much bloviation.
Right, but I was like, I don't really know that word, so I looked it up, and I was like, what a good learning opportunity for me. Thanks. I really appreciated it.
Exactly.
But overall, just, fun lettering in this book, fun art in this book, fun story. Obviously we're kind of setting up a little mystery. Something's going on with the Speed Force, that kind of thing. I don't know if the villain in it is a villain that has existed before or not, but as far as I know, it wouldn't matter anyway, right?
Yeah.
I really loved, Wally's introduction. My name is Wally West. I'm the fastest man who ever lived. But you'd be amazed how much time I spend playing catch up.
Oh.
And I was like,
Yeah.
I freaking love that. Like,
Yeah.
I love that so much. And that's all I wanted. And you also see
Oh, Iris is no,
I
God, what's her name? It's not Iris. Iris is with Barry.
yeah,
It's Linda.
Linda.
Linda Park.
Linda
She
Linda Park West.
Yeah, she just
She had apparently they explained it through story that she had abilities.
Yep, she had,
because she was pregnant.
Yep.
With the Flash kid.
Yep.
Right? And I'm like, cool.
Right. And now she has postpartum depression.
This sequence
is incredible.
Is spectacular.
Yeah.
Like just the way in which not only the art is treated, where it's just she is in one panel, but it's 3 panels that are taking up the space of one panel because you have to show how much the Flash are moving, how much the world's moving around her. She's at the center of it.
Yeah.
Unmoving and like, you know, nursing her child.
Yeah.
As there's like lightning everywhere. And then the narration for her is great because it's so bounded in reality.
Yeah.
Where instead of it being like the fun yellow word balloons that Barry has or that Wally has or any of the other characters might have, it looks like it's like typeface, because I think she's also a writer.
Yes, she is.
Right. So it's perfect for her.
Right.
But like she talks about like, you know, being haunted by this, and she's like, the people she loves will live 1,000 moments in every one of her dull, slow seconds. And I was like,
yeah. Now she is depressed. Like, now,
right.
It's hard. I don't know. I couldn't tell from the context I lacked that she either has postpartum depression or she is just depressed because she used to be a Flash for a second.
I think it's both. But like, the end of this is, well, she's talking about how amazing they are, and she's like, well, she is merely a statue, an icon, miraculously giving milk frozen in the amber of the ordinary. And I was like,
death. That's awesome.
So like, yeah, I'm in on this book. I may not know what's going on and I may have no history with the Flash, but that is the kind of writing I am here for.
Absolutely.
And I don't know how Flash fans are going to react to this, because like Spurrier is definitely bringing a different style, I'm sure, to the table, and it's not better or worse, I would hope, than anything they've read. But there's action in this, but I don't know how action oriented versus flowery language oriented the previous runs have been.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm like, you just made me a Flash fan.
Right. Exactly.
This book made me a fan.
Yeah.
You know, like I have a hard time connecting to people who can get so much done in a day when like, all I want is more time.
Yeah.
But hearing Wally talk about trying to cram it all in and trying to have like a regular life and also be a Flash, and, you know, realizing he's not really there for all the stuff he needs to be there for, and like he's in a struggling marriage right now. This is great. This is real.
Yeah.
I really appreciate this. You know, Mr. Terrific's in this as well.
Yeah.
And we definitely see some of the other Flash family too, and this is a good introduction to me for some of them. Most of them I've seen either in other books, Justice League stuff, you know, War of the Gods. Like they pop up. They pop up everywhere, and it's like, oh, who's that? They pop up in cartoons too. So I don't know. This was great for me. I'm super interested in this. There's also an element of humor, of course. You know, there's like this random indigo streak that's been going through, and they're like, what is it? What is it? And it's like this kid, and he's like, I just wanted to help. I just wanted to be help and like be part of the Flashes. And they're like, what's your name? He's like, Chad. And that's like Simon's like style. That's his humor. That's his thing. It's dry, it's witty, and that's also for me. So I'm here for it. Seeing Gorilla Grodd hold him by his neck and go, Chad, like
right. Like, I'm gonna fight. My greatest nemesis is Chad.
Chad has arrived. Love it. Great. Chad doesn't last long. In fact, something horrific happens to him.
Yeah.
And then, you know, we see, what is it? The Uncoiled.
I don't know.
I'm sure there's no magic involved here, but maybe there is, because Wally keeps talking about how he's like, it's not magic. Speed Force isn't magic. When I say I'm connected to the Speed Force, it sounds like it's magic, but it's science. And I'm like, could there be magic? I don't know. So I'm here for this. I will continue to read this book. This is, I never thought that I would be sitting here being like, I am reading The Flash.
Right.
But here we are. And that's nothing against anyone. It's just so much more scientifically based, and there's so much history of this character that I'm just not familiar with, and there's very little rig room for like magic to be there. And now I'm reading it.
Now I'm reading it. That's great.
Let's go.
Good. I had a feeling you'd enjoy it. Red Hood 52, longtime listener, first time catching up to the stream live. I love your content. Been watching back issues for years. ComicPop. Woo. Thanks, Red Hood. Welcome to the show, man. Thanks for being here.
Can I just say really quickly too? Deodata's art has a definite darker edge.
Oh,
to
sure,
it.
yeah.
I think it really fits the story. And Hassan Oatsmain Elau. I don't know how to pronounce their name. Damn, the lettering in this book is on point.
That's great.
It's incredible.
Good for them. I like you shouting them out. That's nice. Evan Thompson, I hope the new Ultimate Universe branches out more and gives us fresh takes on less successful characters like Silk, the Inhumans, and Sleepwalker. Yeah, man. I mean, obviously, that'd be dope. I don't think that's going to happen, but we'll see.
Ultimate Sleepwalker.
Ultimate Sleepwalker,
I'm
man.
a badass.
Yeah.
I'll put you to sleep forever.
That's just anybody. That's just the Punisher, really.
Well, I'm the Sleepwalker.
Yeah. Ultimate Invasion #4 from Jonathan Hickman and Brian Hitch. This is the final issue of this 4-issue miniseries that was clearly not meant to be one. And it wraps it up. It explains, like, okay, so, you know, they were working on, I believe they call it the Immortus engine, which of course is a, you know, Immortus was Kang, and so we're indicating Kang, and you know, the Maker had been developing this, like, well, the Maker created this universe, then he went into it, and then he built a city out of it, and he kind of like manipulated the politics of this world, and you know, deliberately manipulated the heroes of this world, or the would-be heroes of this world. I think the idea was that it's like a template of the 1602. I'm sorry, the 616 universe.
Oh, okay.
And that's why it's like 6160 or something like that. But
Okay,
in any case, it's like because he manipulated it, it like more or less created an Ultimate Universe, or a new version of the Ultimate Universe, or a new version of the original universe. And Maker takes an interest in Howard Stark as opposed to Tony Stark, and brings him into his inner circle, and then puts him to work on building the Immortus engine. And the Immortus engine is essentially a time machine, and the time machines are being used in the future and here, and they make 2 Immortus engines. And you know, it's just this book is, and the Maker had been sent assassins from the future, presumably, or whatever, but they're in the form of like multiple copies of Ultimate Captain America's, Ultimate Thor's, Ultimate Giant Man, Ultimate Janet, and an Ultimate Vision as well. Like, they're just throwing all this stuff at him, and he has to create like this kind of barrier to protect himself from it. And you know, and then it's revealed at some point or another that like one of the assassination attempts on his life was successful, and so like half his head is missing. That's like part of the reason why he's still wearing the helmet all the time. But then it turns out that's not the case, and you know, he who would kill him was like a memory that was robbed of his because he was missing half his brain, but like he's been trying to regrow it. It's just like this sucks. This is just so boring. And like, not that it's hard to follow, it is, and not that it's like trying to make you think of better things by getting Brian Hitch to draw it, which it is. It's just pretentious. It's just glaringly pretentious. You know, when Donny Cates wanted to restart the Ultimate Universe, he wasn't trying to build a new Ultimate Universe. He just wanted to bring back the Ultimate Universe and write Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
When anyone talks about wanting the Ultimate Universe, that's not what this is.
Mm-mm.
This is a different idea. This is an idea that Hickman like hatched up that might have been part of a previous idea or part of a larger idea. This is and part of the reason why I'm so upset about it is because not only does it fail in its attempt to pitch you the Ultimate Universe, but also this issue was $9.
$9? How long is it?
I think there's 40 pages.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah. And I paid for it because I believe in the industry, and I like, but I'm very angry that I had to pay it, and especially for it to for this 4th issue too. I mean, like, everyone was like, by issue 3, I was like, this is not going to end well. Like, this is not going to end satisfactorily. This is a setup, and it is, but it's not really a setup, because that's not the pitch. The pitch of reigniting the Ultimate Universe is either giving us back the old Ultimate Universe or doing a new Ultimate Universe. This is a combination of something that Hickman wanted to do and calling it the Ultimate Universe. This obviously, we're setting up like a ticking clock element, and also exploring this world. This world is very cynical and borrows from things that were drawn by Brian Hitch when you would have thought of them. Like, this feels very The Authority. This feels very like landscape comics. It feels kind of like almost Mark Millerian in
Oh.
its execution. The idea being that, like, so here's all these teams and these characters. Like the Hulk is a monk, and like Captain Union Jack or Captain Britain or whatever is doing this, that, and the other thing. Magic is in charge of Limbo, and blah blah blah. And Magic just looks like Magic from the main universe, but she's in this universe. She's completely different, but also is exactly the same. And the idea is that like they all kind of like pick who the bad guy is periodically, and then they have like an event where they like fight that bad guy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how freaking cynical can you be? Like, and like, not that it's obvious. It's like the idea of pitching that. And if it happened in the MCU, would be like, what? Or if it happened in its own like world, it's like, oh, that happened in 2000. But to see it here, it's just like, so like,
Okay.
oh, that's not what anyone asked for. And I understand like the aversion to giving people what they asked for.
Yeah.
And I don't believe that you just give people what they asked for. But this ain't what I want, and it ain't what I want to read, and I'm not interested. Like this has almost completely knocked the wind out of my interest in a Hickman Ultimate Spider-Man. Like Hickman doing Ultimate Spider-Man, I'm like, oh well, now I don't give a rat's ass about this world's Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't possibly. I'm going to read it because I want to check it out. I want to see what it is. What kind of audacity could you possibly execute here? But the idea being that like, so the Reed Richards of this world, there is one, and he's wearing a Doctor Doom mask, and he basically becomes Doctor Doom. And you're like, oh my God, you just did this in Secret Wars. Like, what are you talking about, man? And Reed Richards becoming Doctor Doom. I love that the first time when it was called Earth X. But there's like, this thing is just a famous bowl of ideas that Hickman is like, oh man, that, but me though. And of course, the revelation that like of Kang, and then bringing them in, and it not being our Kang, but it being like, this is Ultimate Kang. This is obviously, it's Howard, and Howard becomes Kang, and it's like, okay, like, but anyway, so like it all becomes this whole thing. It falls apart, and then they go into the city, and like the city is like, and it's very much like the friggin' like the Vault, where like the city, there's a dome in the city, and thousands of years are passing, and in 3 years of our time, like 10,000 years will pass, and what's going to happen when it opens up? Well, who's going to come out? So we're going to have like the Ultimate Universe kind of rolling on without the Maker and Kang's influence for 3 years. But then what'll happen when the door opens? And I'm like, I don't care.
I don't begrudge him any of these ideas because I feel like, I loved Secret Wars, right? But I feel like the rest of Marvel never really did anything with it.
Nope.
Like it was a thing that happened, and it was like a big deal.
Yeah.
And like things.
Well, Marvel went all in on it, and then
just didn't care anymore after it was over. And it was like, okay. And then dude comes in and does this whole thing with Krakoa, and then they are like, they take it away from him.
Right.
So like I understand his cynicism for sure, and I definitely feel like some of the stuff that you were saying may have been stuff that he wanted to do, whether with Secret Wars
easily,
or even things with X-Men, because if you think about, not that it was the same thing with because like the Children of the Vault is a little different. I don't know if he actually had a plan for that at all, but
I'm sure he did.
But like if you think about one of his Pox stories in the future, there's like the habitat for like the humans. It's not quite the same,
no,
but like it could be that it's there, and like it's got to be hard because I'm sure he likes writing. And he likes working, I think, on his own projects, but also living in these sandboxes. But at the same time, if you haven't been always respected by the company you're working for, you're gonna give them something that maybe is less than, or is more like motivated by the circumstances that you're writing within, as opposed to the circumstances surrounding the characters.
Naturally, yeah, I understand that, and I recognize that that's like almost certainly how it's being colored. I don't feel,
and I'm not saying that that's right to do either, and I'm not saying that everyone should be like, well, give him a pass. Like, no, it's just like, oh, I wonder if that's what the issue is.
I'm sure it is. It feels. I mean, I would definitely feel that. I mean, certainly there is no Marvel character that walks away from this event looking good, or positive or powerful, or I don't like anyone in this world, and I'm not motivated by them. But the fact is, I was never really a big fan of the Ultimate Universe anyway.
Right.
I was a Spider-Man fan.
Yeah.
I loved Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I read a little bit of the X-Men. I read a little bit of the Fantastic Four, but none of that I connected with enough like Spider-Man. And the Ultimate Spider-Man book is like, obviously it's most successful, but also like it it told a unified singular story. You know, if you like manga so much, you guys should be reading Ultimate Spider-Man, or at least you should read all the Ultimate Spider-Man until it all falls apart.
Right.
But yeah, I don't care. I just didn't. I was like, oh, I don't really care. At some point or another, I think by the time I got to, I mean, the $9 price tag, when I knew this was not going to end, I was like, I'm already kind of annoyed. But I wanted to be excited and to like have a big moment, and there isn't one. And you know, not every book needs to have a big moment, but it needs to feel big in your heart. You need to be like so excited by what happens, even if it's just a character makes a date, or they, you know what I mean, or they beat the bad guy. But this is none of those things. It's just, look at this world I made. Aren't you impressed with this world I made? But look at this world I made, and the characters who made it are bastards who are smarter than you. And I'm like, oh, well, that's cool. But like, I mean, is it though? And that's where I was.
Right.
And the book, and then I'm like, and I gave you $9.
You gave him a lot of money.
Like,
that was a lot of money.
Like, eat my ass. So that sucks. You know, Ultimate Invasion was ultimately a letdown.
Wow.
But yeah, before we get
said that.
I did. But we're gonna jump into some super chats, and then we're gonna recommend comics that are coming out this week that we think you should buy.
Heck yeah! I'm excited.
Nikhil Kapoor says the 6160 Ultimate's first mission gets a kid bitten by a spider and guilt trip him into being a superhero. Right? He has to be like an adult now. J-Man27 Joestar says, funny how it was advertised that Miles would play a role in Ultimate Invasion and then he didn't. When is Spider-Man Pete or Miles going to play a significant role in a major Marvel event? Never. And that's because of the nature of the Sony Marvel contract. If a character is invented in a Spider-Man book, then Sony gets to use that character and owns that character in the movies. If Spider-Man plays too big a role in an event, then that's technically a Spider-Man event, and then Sony can have access to that event. That's why Spider-Man isn't important anymore.
See, what you need is someone like a Jed MacKay to be writing multiple books
and
then be like, oh, I made this character technically in Moon Knight, but now it's a Spider-Man villain.
Yeah, that'd be great.
But I made it in Moon Knight, so you can't use him.
Exactly. That'd be fine. Or just have Jed MacKay write Spider-Man, and then all he can do is just refer to stuff that happened 40 years ago and just keep telling stories about that.
You're just going to take my guy?
Why not? He's doing an Avengers book I'm not reading. Ace God finally can catch you guys live. Here's a dono. Thank you very much, Ace. Appreciate it.
Appreciate that.
Stupid Sandwich, thanks for your support. Forgive my little bit of headcanon, but what if the maker's attempt at recreating the Ultimate Universe is just Judas Traveler's reality mirages? I don't think we're going to be doing that. I don't think that Judas Traveler's that powerful, but thank you for the support.
He's busy right now.
He's so busy. He's very Orcus oriented.
He's Orcus oriented.
Irons Comics by Pretentious. You mean it's badly written? No, I don't think it's badly written. It's just very much not for me, and it's very pretentious. Dan V900. Hickman's style often leaves me, for me, feels cold and lacks emotion when he just has a lot of ideas other than his Fantastic Four and Secret Wars. Ultimate Invasion caused me to have very little interest in this universe. Yeah, I have no interest. I have zero interest in this universe. I am not going to be reading it. But yeah, let's recommend some comics that come out this week that we think you should check out. Our old pal of the show, David Pepos, has an original book from Mad Cave Studios called The Devil That Wears My Face, #1. This has art by Alex Cormack. It is a horror book. It is religious oriented, and it's good for Dave. Check it out. I'm not. I just picked this up because I just wanted to see what you would think. I was looking at.
I didn't read the Moon Knight one.
No, I didn't either.
But I guess I should.
Oh, look, it's just a mini. It's like that X-Men thing. Okay, never mind.
No, but it might be good.
Yeah, you never know. Let's see who's doing this one. It looks like Declan Shalvey is sticking with aliens because there's an Alien Annual #1. Danny Earls doing art. I think I like Danny Earls' art, so I'll probably check this out. I just skipped all of Shalvey's Alien run because I was so offended by the previous run. Daniel Warren Johnson and Mike Spicer's Transformers #1 is dropping on Wednesday. I know what happens in this book because he told me at San Diego Comic-Con. I'm so hyped for it. I love this. Just great. Yay. Can't wait. We're talking about it tomorrow or next week. And Birds of Prey #2 from Kelly Thompson and Leonardo Romero. Look at that cover.
I know. I gotta get on this book.
I know.
There's too many books I gotta get on.
But by the way, while you're grabbing those issues, I will mention that there's a rumor going around, and of course, like because there was a writer's strike and there was a there still is an actor strike, and I think all the other unions are going to strike soon. what's the question? There's a rumor that they're going to adapt Strange Adventures into a movie as well, and that they're going to bring over, the dude. They cast the dude who played Darwin in the X-Men First Class movie, who's going to play Mr. Terrific in the Superman movie. That brings him over into Strange Adventures. And I'm like, oh, well, that suddenly makes a lot of sense, that like you're basically just going to go, every year I'll make a Tom King 12-issue miniseries adaptation, which means we could get like a Strange Adventures, a Supergirl, a Mr. Terrific, or a Mr. Miracle, I should say. Like, I'm so on board for that idea, because it, like, these 12-issue minis lend themselves perfectly just being like, oh, here's just a really cool movie that costs like $10 million. Yes, come on, Strange Adventures the movie. That being said, if you're an Adam Strange fan, I'm sorry.
That's freaking awesome.
I'm so on board. If that's the case, I mean, it could be.
Are you kidding?
It could be
me?
nonsense.
Oh, I hope it's not nonsense. I was supposed to be picking out things.
Yes.
And I didn't.
Well, here's another brainbuster for you.
Don't do that.
They announced the lineup, all the episodes for the What If season 2, and one of them is, what if the Avengers were formed in the year 1602?
Woo!
And I'm like, oh no,
it's gonna be bad.
Yeah, of course it is.
It's always
Marvel,
bad.
Marvel Cinematic Universe.
It's never good when they make those things.
Yeah, well, then the MCU is like trash right now. It's hard to fucking get excited about anything.
I just want to see who wrote this.
Right? Okay. Well, it's a shame.
Okay, really, let's do this real quick. X-Men number 27, Jerry Duggan, Phil Noto.
Yay!
Yeah, what's going on with Cyclops? I don't know. Let's find out, right?
Yeah.
Immortal X-Men.
Yay! Oh my god.
Kieran Gillen.
He's back.
Apocalypse when is what it says. Apocalypse now. I hope so.
Damn right.
Yeah, I am. You know what? I really wasn't originally like too hyped on Apocalypse coming back too soon, and now I literally can't wait.
What if he's the one who finds Exodus in the desert?
Oh man.
And Exodus worships Apocalypse.
X-Force number 45.
What a cool cover.
It's dope cover. Dope ass cover. It's, what is it? This one?
Yeah.
Look at that. Look at it. That's great.
Yeah.
I did it.
You did it. You could run the show now.
That's Ben Percy, Robert Gill. And I do want to know how they're going to solve the Colossus issue.
Yeah.
There's an annual coming out for Ghost Rider. It's Ben Percy and Danny Kim. I am unfamiliar with Danny Kim's art, so I'm looking forward to that. It's Ghost Rider versus the Hood.
What a great idea.
Yeah. Infernal Halloween. Woo! There's a Gods preview.
Oh my god, these previews.
It's a preview. It's
Put
coming
the damn
out.
book out.
I'm going to guess maybe it's all the pieces from.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
I'll read it then.
It's $10.
Oh no.
It's 64 pages.
That's not enough.
That is enough for me.
Okay.
That's enough. 100%. Because it's a story I want to read.
Yeah,
and
fair.
It's got Valeria Skiti on art.
Ooh.
So I will pay a premium for that.
All right.
100%. Because it's going to look great.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Yes. Doctor Strange number 8 is also coming out.
Wow, what a great cover for that one too.
Right? Look at this. Look at that.
It's great.
I mean, like, what more could you want? This is what I wanted for Thor. This.
Well, there's another one.
Just saying. That's Jed McKay and Pascal Ferry on art.
Yep.
I just want to point this out here. If you're one of the people who like the collections when they do like holiday ones for DC, like their Halloween one is coming out. I'm not sure I'm going to be necessarily grabbing it. Just because I usually
don't see any names.
Well, Tyler Crook's writing one, so
okay, that's
or
cool.
drawing one, which I'm down for 100%. But I just want to let you know that DC Ghouls Just Want to Have Fun at number 1 is coming out. So that's up to you if you want to grab that. And see, that's the thing though. That's 80 pages for $10, right? It's
right.
Pages, but it's not one consistent story.
No, that's true. That's true.
So I'm getting like, maybe I only like a handful of stories in here. So that's true. That's how I'm,
Yeah, that's how you justify it.
That's how I'm justifying it. I just want to see what
if
this
you want to
was.
read the book, I get it.
Oh, this is Jeff Johns.
Yeah, this is the JSA book.
Oh, neat. I just wanted to see what it was.
Yeah.
It was down so far at the
I
bottom.
haven't read anything.
Jeez, I didn't really. Okay. I'm not really recommending this, but look at this.
Oh my god,
look at how dumb that is.
Hilarious.
It's so stupid.
So dumb. I love it.
We're just talking about Star Trek Halloween.
Yes, the holodeck goes on the fritz again.
It's so silly.
Oh no. Deanna.
Let's tell our friend
Oh
Jason
no.
about that.
It's you and I trapped on the holodeck? That sucks. That sounds boring.
I'm sure it's fun. It's just something fun and silly.
Yeah, exactly. That's how Star Trek should be. It should be fun
Sometimes it can be.
and matter, like it should say something meaningful. But let's just really quick check one more thing, make sure that everybody's good. I want to thank our super chatters for sponsoring today's show. We really appreciate you. I want to thank our chatters for chatting in today's show, keeping the chat alive and being cool and excellent to each other and kind and supportive. Thanks to everybody for liking the video, subscribing to our channel, and watching the show. We'll see you guys next week with another episode. And stay tuned for more. I'm Sal.
I'm Tiffany.
So long, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.